It's close. It's close enough to 11:30 that I'm going to declare the winner is it's 11:30. This is going to be a question and answer type session today, and we'll see how it works. Next week is our the session is going to be on our iDevices, the iPads, the iPhones, iOS 6, and Mitch Breyer will be sending out an email, I'm sure, asking for questions ahead of time so that he can get them into his presentation. But for today, anybody here that isn't regularly here? Looks like we got. Welcome. Thank you. Welcome. You know anything about the club, or you?
I was invited by a gentleman from Merrill Lynch.
Oh, Mitch.
The gentleman. We're loosely.
That's the first time anybody ever called.
There you go.
At any rate, we meet every Wednesday, mostly on Wednesdays at 11:30, mostly at 11:30 for about an hour and 15 minutes. And the first Wednesday of the month is devoted to just general questions. Ask a question, we'll try to figure out how to answer them. The second Wednesday of the month is devoted to the iOS 6, the iDevices, the iPad, the iPhone. The third Wednesday is back to question and answer usually. And then the last Wednesday of the month is for what we call the iLife set of software. That would be the iPhoto, the iMovie, the iDVD software. In addition, one evening a month at 5:30 we meet here also. Again, typically they are on Mondays. Unfortunately, when in November we've got a scheduling conflict with the library, so we're going to meet on Tuesday. I think it's the third week, and I think it's Tuesday of that week. And that one is try to bring in a speaker via video conferencing. Last week, for instance, we had a hour-and-a-half meeting with Jason Snell, who is the senior editor of Macworld magazine. He actually got promoted since then. So that's our general activity. Don Peacock, who just came in the back in the shirt there, has put some application forms on the table, and if you want to join, you can fill it out and send it on to Don. Today's session is, as I said, question and answer. We field questions. All I ask is that you give your name when you pose a question, and we'll try to answer. And here comes that gentleman. You got
He's talking about me again.
Yeah, one of your clients or associates.
It's like Pete.
Ah, hey, good to see you. I've been recruiting.
Next time I won't mention your name.
Okay.
All right. Who's got a question?
Why should I have an iOS 6?
Why?
Your name is, why should I?
Oh, sorry. My name is Ghazi,
Okay.
and I am contemplating going from iOS 5 to iOS 6. My wife has it, and I like to know whether I should do it.
The short answer is yes. We'll
Yeah, but some of the features, what's so good about it?
Okay. We'll try to answer that.
Yeah, my name is Eckhart, and I've been a member here a little over 2 years. And I have a question, and the question is really, is the name of our organization appropriate? I'm thinking about last week's presentation by Jason Snell, which I found very impressive, very philosophical in many ways. And he raised the issue, what is Apple really heading for as a corporation? And he mentioned that Mac, and our name of our organization is, I think, Mac Friends User Group, Naples Mac Friends User Group. he pointed out that the Mac product in and of itself is declining. Also, I think
No, he didn't say.
in percentage
Yes.
to the overall business distribution volume. I think the question was also brought up, the issue was brought up, that we as an organization really don't get any, or very little recognition by the Apple store here in town, because Jason pointed out that the purpose, the thrust of these stores is really to sell products. If I look at our organization here, most of us, of course, do use Mac computers, but most of us also use iDevices, and in fact we devote a lot of our program time to those iDevices. And it's just a philosophical question, not that I'm really suggesting that we change our name, but I think it is appropriate, and all big corporations do it. Also, our little association may want to think about it. Is our name in the changing world really still appropriate and correct? Or should we just accept it as a grandfather? I mean, I just wanted to raise the issue, and you may tell me, no, let's stay the way, and I would accept that. But nevertheless, I find it an intriguing issue that Mac as a percentage is declining, and we all are not simply exclusively Mac users, we are iDevice users, and should not the name of our organization reflect that in some way? That's the question.
Okay. Back over here.
Connie Pettit here. So I'm, Judith Chirkman is also a member. She just fell and she's in a hospital. So I'm helping her to,
Who fell?
Judith Chirkman.
Oh, that's
Oh,
good.
really?
Yeah. And so.
Is she okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
she'll be fine, thank you. But I'm helping her to create some documents she needs. I use Windows and Excel for those, and I'm on the latest software of Mac. She's still on Snow Leopard, so will she be able to look at my Mountain Lion and edit to it on her Snow Leopard?
If she has the same application as you do,
Okay.
the files will be usable on both.
Okay,
Okay.
great, thank you. That was quick, thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Have you thought, part of your thought process of wondering whether we have the right name, did you happen to think of a name you would like?
Well, I've been thinking about it, but I think the name Mug is, in a way, I like it, and I cannot inject the letter A there in, somehow, so that's the problem.
Let me kind of shoot this one down a little bit. It took us 3 years.
Oh, that's right.
It took us 3 years, I think, to get our name legally structured and to get the IRS approval. And to get it filed with the state of Pennsylvania so that we are a nonprofit and tax exempt. And it cost us $5,000, Tom, maybe,
Yeah.
in legal fees.
There'll be more money for the lawyers, that's for sure.
I understand the thrust of it, but the practicality of changing our name is ill. Thank you.
My name is Debbie. I have Microsoft's Excel and Word, it's Excel. I put some stuff in Excel, and then I put it on a thumb drive, and I wanted to transfer it to this other girl's computer who's a PC, and it wouldn't take it. Is that, I put the thumb drive in, and it shut up, and I saved it, and when I ejected the thumb drive, and I said, well, let's go see if we can find it. I found it in documents, but there was nothing there. The words weren't, the list wasn't there.
All right.
Mitch Breyers. Couple things. I wanted to ask, did you make an announcement about next week's meeting?
Yes.
And the meeting at the library as well?
No.
Okay. There will be a public meeting at the library in Lely, not here, a week from tomorrow. The library has asked us to put it on. They've done this before. and to be open to the public. We're hoping that a lot of our members come as well. It'll be devoted to iOS 6, the iPad, and the iPhone, so on. I'll be doing the presentation, and so I'll send out another email reminder on that. I wanted to mention that.
You do have, it's at the South Regional Library is the official name, and it's off of 951.
Yeah, it's off of that, and it's back in that Lely area. If you Google the address on the, I posted it once to our site, and I'll post it again later this week.
And they do want to register ahead of time. So Bitch, when he sent out his announcement previously, and there was a registration link there, use it so that they know you're coming if you're going to do it.
Yes. Now my question. In using iPhoto and iMovie, it used to be I would put in my photos and they would go into, and movies, and they would go into iPhoto. Then in iMovies, there was some kind of a button that I remember, or a switch, that you would just press and it would import all my movies from iPhoto. When I ask it to import things from iPhoto, it's not picking up those movies. I've had to export them to the desktop and then import them into iMovies. So I'm thinking I'm doing something wrong, or something has changed.
Is this movies on your phone?
No, these are movies that I took on a Canon, device, and just took the movie chip. It's a regular Canon point and shoot that has a movie mode, and I put it in, imported them right in with the pictures into iPhoto. They show in there, but when I go to iMovies and say, I think there's a thing that says import stuff from iPhotos, and they don't show up.
Okay. Anybody else have some questions? In the back. I'll get you, Gene.
Don Heacock, in Mountain Lion, using text edit, is there any way when I open text edit that I can just get the blank thing instead of getting the thing, I get some other thing that says, do I want the cloud or whatever? Can I just get the blank new document?
Gene O'Mara, can a JPEG attachment to an email transmit a virus?
All right, anybody else?
I wanted to ask one more about our attendance. I don't know if you keep records, but
What?
our attendance at the meetings, I don't know if you keep records, but I'm wondering if our attendance is dropping because we're videoing the sessions and posting them. Because I would have thought more people would have been here by now with season kicking in.
We've not been keeping track of it. The library knows, I mean, we tell the library how many people are here, but I don't keep any record that says we had 42 this week and 37 the week before. No, and that's a legitimate question as to the impact of this. However, I think one way that what I thought about it was, if you look at the YouTube site, most of the time there is a views counter there. So far, I have not seen us seeing 50 or 60 or 100 people viewing a meeting. It's a dozen or so. So I don't think that we're losing them to that, but I don't know.
Okay.
Chairman?
Is the Thursday meeting in place of the Wednesday meeting next week?
No, not at all.
No.
It's not a club meeting.
You might want to, also that meeting at the South Regional Library, I think is a longer meeting.
It's 2 hours.
It's a 2-hour meeting,
And it's 10 to noon.
so there'll be much more in-depth review of iOS 6.
Exactly.
What's the date on it?
It's a week from tomorrow.
And it's really it's worth coming if you're interested in iOS 6 and the
It's on the
iOS.
15th of November.
It's the 15th. I'll send out another notice on it. We did it once last year at the library's request, and that room holds 300. We had 200 there, and we had a ball.
Don, you had a question?
Yeah, in answer to Mitch's question, last year, on November 2nd, we had 54 people, but that's because George had a video conference with the lynda.com person. And on the 9th last year, you were talking about Lion, and we had 40 people. So maybe he's hardly correct.
Oh, so you do keep track?
I do, yeah.
Oh, that's,
I didn't know that.
so are you putting together of this year, last year's spreadsheet?
So you count more than just the money.
Susan?
Yes, sir. I have a question about the Lydia.com site.
I can't quite.
The Lydia.com site.
Lynda.com.
Lydia.com, how that benefits a member, and since I'm new, what I can gain from it.
All right. That's a good lead into what I'm going to do next. Is that it? That's fine. Let's come back. I sent out, let me answer your question. Lynda.com is a firm that produces educational videos on a huge spectrum of topics. You can subscribe to it personally on a monthly basis or on a yearly basis, and I think the monthly is about 50?
25 a month.
$25 for
Anna.
what?
And up.
Oh,
Yeah.
and up. Oh,
That's without the practice files.
okay.
With the practice files, I think it's more.
And the annual is on the order of $300, I think. We have used them quite often for our meetings. And a couple of years ago, George was able to negotiate I'll call it a revolving license, where we have contracted for 5 subscriptions and are able to allocate them 1 week at a time to different members. And George Rubin runs this, and he gets the request, and starting on a Thursday evening, you get access to lynda.com for whatever you want to do, whatever training you want until the week is up. And then that license gets rotated to the next member that wants to use it. We have 5 of them that we rotate, and George goes crazy managing this. But that's what lynda.com is. Good.
Do we email George if we would like to take one of those lessons and he arranges it, or?
Okay, let me sort of explain it to you. First of all, usually when you become a member, if I'm on top of it, which I try to keep on top of it, I send to Lynda that you're now part of the group, and they send you something to register. And then you register with Lynda. Once you register with Lynda, Lynda tells you that you have to get a hold of me, the administrator, to arrange your week.
Okay.
Okay, so if you don't remember registering,
Which I have now.
okay, the best thing you can do is just send me an email and I'll make sure I plug you in.
Okay.
And you'll get that email from Lynda to register. Now, at any point in time that anybody wants to look at Linda, all they have to do is put in lynda.com, lynda.com, and then go to Linda, and they can see every single course possible that you can take. Each of the courses have some free links that you can go in and take a look at, 2 or 3 of the tutorials within the course. A lot of the courses are anywhere from 3 hours to 18 hours of time you can take to learn it. So it's really, it blows my mind that we have 500 members in the group, and we have, I think, about 150 active users. And I always wonder, and I have conversations periodically with Linda as to, does anybody have any ideas within their organization how we can increase that number? I also sent out a link this morning, or I sent out something to the group this morning of the newsletter that Linda sends me on a monthly basis of all the new courses. You can go in there and anything and everything in the PC world or the Mac world or the Unix world or whatever, you can take a class on.
Marilyn, did you have something?
No, I was just going to mention what George said about looking through it. And you can search too.
Right.
There's so many courses that it's hard to look through all of them, but if you can go under the Apple courses, or you can go under the photography courses, or you could just search for, say, you want to learn about mountain lion to see if they have a course on that, or I think they even have a course on Facebook, and so sometimes if there's something special you're looking for, a special program, it's good to do a search to see if they have a class on it.
Mitch?
I wanted to add to that. These courses, as George says, they're very thorough and they're long. It sounds like, oh my God, 3 to 18 hours, but they're broken out into usually 3 to 7 minute segments on specific topics. So like in Mountain Lion, there might be 30 segments that you can choose from, or subjects you can choose from. And so you can pick and choose which ones you want to go through, or just start going through every one. And if you don't get through it all this time, you can sign up for another week at some future date. And they are excellent.
Now,
Go ahead.
Now, in addition to lynda.com, George and I have been recommending a set of video educational programs from Tutor. They go by the title Tutor, and I think they're Notebloom or something like that is the name of the company. And just recently, they announced the availability of a tutor for Mountain Lion. This is a $5 download from the Mac App Store that belongs to you once you have it. And what I want to do now is to show you some of this, what the tutor for Mountain Lion is, because it means that you can have it in your computer, and you've got it for the rest of the time that Mountain Lion is going to be in existence. So let me bring that up.
And he's going to be speaking to us at our monthly meeting this month, which is on the 20th, which is a Tuesday night. And I think it's going to be an outstanding presentation. And he's the actual guy that does all of these videos and tutorials.
There are 2 places in the Apple world where you get apps. Okay? In iTunes, you get the applications for your iDevice. So you go to the App Store in iTunes if you want to load something into your iPhone or your iPad. If you want to load something into your Mac, you go to the Mac App Store, which is part of it, came into being with Lion and Mountain Lion and maybe Snow Leopard. I think Snow Leopard was the first point. And you select the application and you download it, and they bill your credit card the same as they do with iTunes. So this This one I have here, I've got two of them in this computer at the moment. One, which they did special for us, was Tutor for the iPad. And this let us run the training system on your Mac while you were parallel working on the iPad. So it was a nice activity. I'm going to turn on Tutor for OS X, Mountain Lion.
And he really speaks so that it's really clear, easy to understand what he's going through.
Let me see if I can blow this up a little bit. Over here on the left-hand side, you can see a listing of all of the sections to this video that is now resident in this computer. And so it's basic terminology, the issues of migrating from Windows, the Finder, the menu bar, setting up your Mac, working with other applications, working with documents, applications up close. It's a tremendous amount of good work. I've got two I want to run for you. I'm going to run Notification Center. Notification Center is this thing up here in the top right-hand corner of your Mac, and it shows your mail, your calendars, and the different notifications. And for me, it took quite a bit of reading to figure out how in the world to work with it. So let's see how this comes out.
A new feature in Mountain Lion is the Notification Center. The Notification Center basically has two features. One is it will give you notifications from various applications. The second is you can look up those notifications in the Notification Center. Let's take a look at the first feature, and this is how does the Notification Center notify you? Well, the way that it notifies you is it displays alerts and banners in the upper right-hand corner.
And the nice thing is, if you hit the space bar, it stops, so you can digest and then restart.
A banner will show up on the screen for a few seconds and then disappear on its own. An alert will stay there until you go and close it or snooze it. So as an example, I put a reminder in the Reminder app to call Beth. And what I wanted to do is I wanted to remind me. I set it up as a banner in the Notification Center preferences. So here it comes across the screen at the top on the right. And then it disappears. That is a banner. I also set up in the Calendar app an alarm. Now alarms I have set up as alerts. And what alerts will do is they will come across the screen and then just stay there until you dismiss it. So here it comes across the screen, and you're going to see it has close and snooze. If I snooze, it'll disappear, but then it'll come back on again. If I close it, it'll disappear. So those are the different ways that the Notification Center notifies you, and we're going to take a look at how you set up your different applications towards the end of the video. Now let's go and look at the second feature, which is how do you look up your notifications? Where you're going to see in the upper right-hand corner of your display these three lines with the dots. This is the Notification Center. When I click on it, it's going to open it up. So let's go ahead and click on it. These are all the different notifications that I have right now. I have 3 new mail messages, and you're going to see that the reminder is down there. Now why isn't the alarm down there from the calendar? Because I closed it. I no longer need to see it. Up at the top, we have Twitter. If I were to click on this, I can tweet a message. I'm going to go ahead and cancel. We also have the little X here. This will hide those notifications. You're going to see I have it for the reminders as well. If I click on one of these, it's going to open it up. So let's say I called Beth, click on it. It opens up my reminders, and I can go and say this was done. Let's go and open up the Notification Center again. Another way of opening up the Notification Center is if you have a trackpad. take 2 fingers on the right edge of the trackpad and swipe it over to the left. So I'm going to put 2 fingers on the trackpad and swipe. And there it is. To close it, all I have to do is put 2 fingers on the right edge and close it. So you can either click the icon in the upper right-hand corner or swipe with 2 fingers. So let's go ahead and open it again. I can also turn the notification center off. This is great if you're given a presentation with your computer. You don't want to have these notifications come across your screen. All I have to do is swipe down in the notification center. So I'm going to swipe down, and you're going to see show alerts and banners at the top. If I turn this off, it is now off. I will no longer get any notifications. Now what's really nice about this feature is you're going to see below it says will resume tomorrow. I don't have to turn it back on. It will turn on automatically for me tomorrow. I'm going to turn it back on, and I'm going to swipe up to close that. Now you're also going to see down at the bottom right here this little gear. This little gear here is where we go and set up our notification preferences. And this is in the system preferences again. So I'm going to go and click on this, and it's going to open up the system preferences. So let's click on it. I'm going to close the reminders here, and you're going to see it opened up to the notification center. If I go and click on show all, you're going to see notifications in the system preferences right on the far right. So it's just a shortcut to the notification center preference pane. So let's go and open it up again. Now you're going to see when I click on calendar here, these are all the different settings I have for the calendar. You're going to see that it's set up for alerts, which means it's going to stay on the screen until I dismiss it. But when I go over to my reminders, I have that set up as banners. If I wanted to set this up as an alert, which is what it is by default, all I have to do is just click on alert, and now when that reminder comes up, it's going to stay there until I dismiss it. Mail messages are set up as banners. So when I get a new mail message, it'll show up there for a few seconds and then disappear. We also have a few more options here. Show in the notification center. How many items do you want to show in there? Do you want to include the badge app icon? The badge app icon is the little red icon in the upper right hand corner. And that will tell you how many notifications there are by looking at the icon. And then we also can play a sound when receiving notifications. Now a few of these apps are going to have different options. Let's go and take a look at the Twitter. I'm going to go to Twitter here, and you're going to see I have a new button here called Options. Go ahead and click on it. Here I can show the notifications for mentions and direct messages. So each application has its own set of options. So that's the notification center in Mountain Lion. As you can see, there's not that many apps that are using the notification center yet, primarily just Apple apps. But as developers update their apps and come out with new apps, I think you're going to see a lot more apps taking advantage of the notification center. And when you get an app that does take advantage of it, you want to go into the system preferences, go to notifications, and just see what options you have there. So that is the notification center in Mountain Lion.
I think you get a sense that this is a quality job. For those of you who have used the Linda, I think the information content is as good as most of the Linda things. It is not as vast a library, but for the ones that are out, I think are significant. I'm going to do one more brief one. If I can find it here. Looking for mail.
Under setting up your map about 4 down.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, one of the first things you're going to want to do when you have your new computer is set up your mail contacts and calendars. And Mac OS X Mountain Lion makes it really easy if you have a Yahoo account or a Gmail account or an Exchange account. Let's go and see how this all works. The way that you do that is you go up to the Apple menu in the upper left-hand corner, and we go to System Preferences. From here, you're going to see Mail, Contacts, and Calendars. This is where we go and add our different accounts. So let's go and click on it. Over to the right, we have our different accounts that we can add. And you can see we have iCloud, Exchange, Gmail, Yahoo, AOL. I'm going to talk about Twitter and Facebook in the next video, so we're just going to focus on the major accounts like iCloud, Exchange, Gmail, Yahoo, and AOL. So I have a Gmail account, and what I want to do is I want to add this to Mountain Lion. So let's go into Gmail here, and I'm going to go and enter in my email address. Let's go and enter the password. And when I click on Setup here, it's going to allow me to choose which services I want to set up. So let's go and click on Setup here. From here, I can say I want to use my mail, I want to use my calendars and reminders, I want to use messages using Google Talk, as well as notes. So you're going to see that Gmail will allow me to sync up with all those different services. If I use AOL, I might have a different list of services. I'm going to cancel here. Let's take a look at the iCloud. iCloud, I'm going to talk about that in another video as well. iCloud, we have a number of different services here. We have mail, contacts, calendars, notes, Safari, photo stream, documents, and data. So depending on what service you're going to be using, you're going to be able to choose which ones you want to sync up with. And once you sync those up, all of these different services are going to show up in the respective applications. So your mail is going to show up in the mail program. Your contacts are going to show up in the contacts program, and your calendar, your events, are going to show up in the calendar program. If you have an account that is not one of those services, all we have to do is we have to go down to the plus here in the lower left-hand corner, and down at the very bottom here, we have Add Other Account. Click on that, and then you can go and add what type of a service it is. So if it's a mail account, let's go and add a mail account. And now it's going to ask me for the email address. So Mac OS X Mountain Lion makes it really easy if you're using one of these services here, iCloud, Microsoft Exchange, Gmail, Yahoo, AOL. But if you're not using one of those services, all you have to do is just scroll down to the bottom. Once you enter in your information, you can decide, do you want to sync up the calendar, do you want to sync up contacts, or do you just want to use the mail?
So if you are trying to learn something and you want an extensive time with it, these tutor things are quite valuable, and they run in the order of $4 or $5, which is a pretty good price in my opinion. Don
Hutching, you had both the iPad and the computer icons on there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get them both at the same place? Back when you showed all your...
I think all of their products are available through the Mac App Store, so you would...
So you can get your iPad through
Yeah.
there too?
Yes, the ones that run in your Mac, they have tutors for the iPad too.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want a tutor for your iPad, then you would go to the iTunes App Store and download the one for your iPad. Mitch?
Yeah, it's interesting, be wanting to ask him this question when he addresses our group, but if you go to the App Store on the iPad or the iPhone, there was actually an app for Mountain, for Lion, that you could get here.
Okay.
But the Mountain Lion one is only available on the Mac Store.
Obviously, he has to do some conversion in order to get into the other platform.
Yeah.
And I guess it's a business decision whether or not have had enough iTunes apps business to cover that.
What's interesting is if you want it, email him directly.
Yes.
And ask him to do it. Because Jerry emailed him and I emailed him on this
iPad one.
On the iPad one, and he did it for and because of the emails he received from the two of us, and he also said he had received them from other people, he went ahead and did it in both places.
I might email him, because a lot of times I like to look at it.
And he'll answer your email.
Yeah.
So anyway, back to what George said, he is our speaker on our evening meeting. It's going to video conference in, and that's on the 20th of November?
Right.
Tuesday. It's one of our Tuesdays. Maryland.
Marilyn, I just wanted to add with the lynda.com and with this tutor program, what's really great about it is you can replay it as many times as you need to. But I don't know if anybody uses Photoshop Elements, and it's not a really hard program, but it's a bit of a learning curve. And as it gets a little more sophisticated and it has more options, sometimes you're trying to do some kind of complex thing. So I always have Linda up to Photoshop Elements, and when I get stuck, I just go back to that movie and play it again a couple of times while I'm doing it. So that's the great advantage of the Linda. And if you're doing it for a week, you can take notes, or you can re-up for another week later on to review what you missed.
All right. Since Mitch is here, the question was asked, I think you were here, why should we switch to iOS 6? What are some of the benefits? So,
Well, there are a lot of benefits, and there are a few disadvantages in going to iOS 6. So I would recommend that you do it. Now, I ran into somebody the other day that for some reason wanted to stay on iOS 5. I couldn't remember exactly what the reason was, but when they told me, it didn't seem like that valid of a reason. But the iOS 6 is the next. It really is a refinement of a lot of the features on iOS 5, plus it adds a few things. And if you really want a good overview of it, come to that meeting a week from tomorrow at the library.
I think iCloud was not available on iOS 5, is it? I think the whole iCloud support structure that Apple has put together does not work with iOS 5. So that's to me, it's a gimmick on why you want to go forward. And the price is nice. It's a free upgrade.
Yeah.
Susan?
Mitch, quick question, sir. There was just the release of iOS 6.1, and I think it said that it was just for the iPhones.
No.
No.
It's, okay, so even though...
That release was 6.0.1.
Okay.
Okay, and that was to do some stability, but it was addressing some issues with the iPhone 5. I read today in one of the places that I work in, iOS 6.1 is close to being released, which will address lots of other things.
The other thing on this last update, it was for the iPad because I did do it on my iPad and I was able to do it just over the air. Now on my iPhone, which is an iPhone 5, it said I was going to, for some strange reason, it said to hardwire it into the computer to do it.
Yeah, I read that also on the internet. If you have an iPad 2 or you have an iPhone 4S, or I forget what the other versions would be, you can do it through the air. But there's a glitch if you have an iPhone 5 and you have to do it wired to iTunes.
Yes, and that's what I did. Yeah.
Caramba.
I have not upgraded my iPod Touch to iOS 6, and I've really not noticed any difference. I upgraded my iPad and my iPhone, but I don't use some of the features maybe that are available.
All right. Question was asked about a problem with moving information on a thumb drive to a friend that had a PC. I don't know, but I suspect that the thumb drive was formatted with an Apple protocol, and the PC doesn't know how to read it.
But it goes in reverse because my friend has a PC and gave me information and Apple took it.
Yeah, yes, Apple
But it won't go the other way.
Apple is very friendly and it accepts information in almost any
Doesn't care.
format. But the PC world, you have to have your drives and stuff formatted in FAT32 or one of the other PC MS-DOS formats. I suspect that's the issue.
You're probably right. So she has to type it all over again.
But she would have had to formatted the thumb drive because they all come formatted for PC.
Yes.
And unless you take a specific action in your Mac which is generally not required for most purposes, if you're just copying files and photos, it should work.
Well, I usually format them because the thumb drives come with some garbage on there and other stuff. So any thumb drive I get, I format in order to get rid of the stuff that I don't want.
Does anybody know if there is a format you can use that will work with both Apple and PC?
Yes, I mean, if we go into disk utility,
I think I've tried them all.
and I don't know,
Unless you're making a bootable disk, you can just reformat it in the PC format and it should work fine.
On the Apple also?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
Which is the format, which is the PC?
does anybody have a boot drive? Or, I can't get to here.
By the way, I think before I retype all that, I'd try emailing it to her as an attachment. She should be able to open it up.
Yeah, I could do that.
Does it work?
Dropbox.
Or you can
Dropbox.
I don't know anything about that.
What'd you say?
Yeah,
I suppose I could get it on Twitter.
no, it's too wide.
Here. Oh, it's, is there
Dropbox.
other one?
Yeah.
Is a cloud app.
I mean, I've seen it.
Yeah, that you can put on.
Susan?
I don't know if this will help or answer the question.
Email by
But
this
on a
window.
formatted drive for Mac and PC compatibility, it's a Mac yourself
Okay.
website.
All right. If you plug your thumb drive into your Mac and you go into, and you select it and you do a erase and reformat, it will give you about 4 different formats that you can select. And if you're trying to build something that you can use as a boot drive for the Apple, you need to pick something called GUID. But and Apple will say if you pick one of the other ones, and it's FAT32 is the one I remember, it'll say this is for both a PC and a Mac. So that's one way that you can check what it is.
Thank you.
George, can you talk to Mitch about his iMovie import from iPhoto, what problem he might be having?
The only thing I can think that could be causing the issue is you want to make sure that that iPhoto library, where those movies are, was the last iPhoto library you had open before you opened iMovie.
Yeah, it was.
It was.
You try dragging and dropping?
Well, that's what I did. I dragged it to the desktop and then I imported it
Well,
from the
what
desktop.
I'm gonna do when I get home is I'll try it with maybe these. or not, I'll make a couple of small little movies, and I'll import it, I'll make sure it's in iMovie, or iPhoto, and then I'll see if mine picks it up.
It seems to pick up stuff, the iMovies that are on the,
Well,
on the phone. But when I use a point and shoot and take out the card, put it in my Mac, and it imports all the pictures and the movies into iMovie, that's where I'm having the problem, or iPhoto. And I open up iMovie and it says, oh, hit this button to import all movies. And it used to just scan the whole thing and bring them all in. And
do you still get that alert?
I get that alert, but it's all old stuff, and it's not any of the new stuff. Strange.
We'll figure it out. Unless, do you have the latest version of
Both,
both?
and iOS, yeah.
And you're on Mountain Lion?
Yes.
Don asked the question, how to get a blank document when he starts text edit.
Right.
Let's see what happens when I start text edit. It might be some of this nice stuff that Apple has done.
Oh, you
So
get
it
it.
must be a setting that I.
Probably a preference.
Now, what I've, for instance, if I just do a little bit of typing and I quit this text edit, first it's going to ask me, do I want to save it? And I'm going to say no, I don't want to save it. And I think normally now, if I come back, no, all right. Let me quit this. If we get into system preferences, general, you get into we've talked about this generally a little bit, the save and auto-save features that are available with Mountain Lion for documents, for Apple documents. I had these two checked so that when I close a document and the application starts up, it doesn't bring back the document that was just running. If you don't have that turned off, if you just take Mountain Lion as its default stage, then it will keep bringing back all your previous open documents and present them as the working document. Because it's what happens on again, this is part of making the Mountain Lion look more like the iOS 6. When you quit something in your iPad and you restart the application, you get the file that you were working on brought back to you. And so that's the design of Mountain Lion. And if you don't like that, then you have to go to the procedure of turning this off. But that's might be the issue now.
I think I have those same two things checked, and on iCloud, I think I've selected not to sync documents because I don't have.
Yeah, I don't have documents on iCloud either, so I don't get the.
I'll check my preferences. Thanks.
Yeah, in iCloud, this option right here is the one that you then, if you have this one checked, then you will get the option of sticking your documents in iCloud or onto your Mac. So that's another place that you play with the.
I'll double check the options.
Can I ask a question? Why do you use, if you have Word or Excel or numbers or, what's the? Pages. Why do you use text edit?
I use it all the time. It opens instantly, and a lot of times I'll just copy something into it to use temporarily, a URL or something. I use it all the time. One of the handiest things.
I use it a lot also, like if I get, where I find it very useful, I get an email message and it's got all those indents that you don't want to go forward in the right arrows. If you highlight the text that is good and then use one of the services, you can transfer that into text edit automatically without all the other stuff. So I find it very useful for working with very simple stuff.
And the useful thing when you're using it is to go up and the menu at the top and put paste and match style. And that would get rid of any special formatting or whatever, and it would paste it in the same thing that you have to text edit set for. All right.
Gene O'Mara asked the question of whether a JPEG file can carry a virus. I think the answer is yes, Gene. Now,
The answer is really yes.
what?
The answer is really yes. I'm
Really?
not sure that it's from the JPEG itself or from the email, but I have ruined 2 computers from international files with JPEGs.
Susan, do you have a comment?
From a Microsoft side, almost 90% of all viruses are usually with an executable. Okay, some type of program or something that you must run in order to generate a virus on your computer. JPEGs are an image, but there is reports that JPEGs are going to now being attacked because so many people are using them. But a JPEG by itself is not an executable, therefore it won't generate a virus. But a viewer or something that you actually execute or run on your computer to view the JPEG will cause the virus to infect.
Yeah, I have read that the bad guys have figured out how to embed the viruses inside JPEG files. So that issue that you've got might be, now, it used to be that there wasn't any, we didn't have to worry much in the Mac from the types of viruses that PCs were getting. But the bad guys have figured out a lot of different Trojan horse approaches where if you click on it, you can intentionally, if you intentionally click on the item, it will install something and then cause troubles inside the computer. All right, I've got one more thing I wanted to show you because I think we've covered everything else here. We had an occasion this past couple weeks ago where Georgia needed to get all the directors of the board to sign a document, and people were spread all over. And it turned out that there's a nice technique available in preview called signatures, and I thought I'd take a little bit of time to walk you through on that. Preview is an extremely versatile and powerful application in your Mac, and I'm going to bring up preview. And it brought up the preferences right away. In preview, if you bring up preferences, preview preferences, one of the items in the selection is this new addition, which is new to Mountain Lion, I'm pretty sure. No, it was also available in Lion, called Signatures. And you can, as it says here, you can add your handwritten signature to PDF documents. And so what you do is you write your signature on an index card, something a little bit all white and a little bit stiff so it doesn't wiggle too much. And you start this create signature process. And what happens is you can't see it, but the eyesight camera is turned on. And I'm going to come up here and try to get this thing come on, babe. Well, what it's supposed to do. Cancel it right over. There we go. Okay. So it recognized that there was a signature there, and you say accept. Or didn't accept it.
Yeah.
Well, what it's supposed to do, folks, is to add that here in this. Well, read Friday's Nature's Alien News article. But anyway,
When you just clicked on create, it showed. Oh,
that's all right. Let's try it again. It's not taking it for some reason.
Jerry, doesn't it open up when you open up a PDF? In other words, if you open up a PDF, doesn't it say, do you want to add a signature someplace? In other words,
Let's create a PDF here. All right, I'm in preview, and if I come up here to this, and it didn't take, but what it does, you can create a set of signatures. Like I have a Jerry, I have a Jerome, I have a Jerry W, different things, and then when you've got it working, you then just drag it onto your document like the same way that if I wanted to, I could create a box here and put text in it, and then it binds it to the PDF document. So what we were able to do was through email send document sequentially to people, and we got all 5 of the signatures without having to get together in the same room, and it was very effective. And I think it's I don't know why it's not working in this Mac, but it works. It worked for me, and it worked for the rest of us.
While you're in preview, I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
I use it to fill out forms a lot of times. Sometimes they want your social security number, and they have all those little boxes. Is there a way to do that without making a text for each box and filling them out?
You could, you could put them into this. Use the
Your social
same
security number?
Sure, you make. I mean, the computer doesn't know that it's a signature or it's a string of numbers.
Yeah. I'm trying to get it to fit in the little boxes though.
Yeah, but when it works, basically you have this on the signature, and you can resize it to fit within the box.
But I know what he's talking about. If you have a form and it's got many lines and you want to fill out the whole form,
Yeah.
you have Photoshop, any Photoshop elements,
Yeah.
within that you can do it.
Oh, okay.
just scan the document?
There's another piece of software that we had a speaker on called PDF Pen. PDF Pen is a piece of software that is designed for doing things like that. So there are multiple ways to deal with it.
But any Photoshop elements, even if you got 6 or 5 or 4, it'll do it.
Alrighty, that is it for now. We've got an iOS 6 meeting next Wednesday here, and then we have an iOS 6 meeting at the regional library on Thursday.
And Tuesday, you have,
What?
Tuesday, next Tuesday, is it? Next Tuesday?
No,
A week from Tuesday.
Week after? Oh, okay.
2 weeks maybe.
2 weeks, okay.
Thanks, Jerry.
All right.
You're welcome.
Thank you.